And perhaps if we just go through those, do we want a very, very brief comment from the chair about the appointment publicly? Do you want to say as much? Sorry, that's your.
No, sorry. Just and bearing in mind that this is being recorded, I'm wondering if it would be pertinent to wait until an email had gone to staff.
Fair enough.
That'll go in about 15 minutes.
Sure, okay, I'll keep that in mind. The end of the meeting, that's fine. So we'll quickly go to the items which we can move to another date. And I'm asking your consent to do that. The first of those is the consideration of the strategic plan. Which agenda item is that? I'm sorry, I've lost myself. That's agenda item 8. Is there, from looking at that and the discussions we've had, my feeling is that should go to a workshop. Do we have agreement that we establish a workshop for that? Is there any reason it has to go to the council meeting on the 31st, James?
No, Chair. The only thing I'd ask is for some guidance around whether or not you would wish us to take anything to the Māori Standing Committee and the Regional Planning Committee in the next month, or would you like us to, and therefore there be some urgency around that workshop, or do we simply take our time to arrange that workshop when it's convenient to all councillors, and then put off that engagement with tangata whenua to a bit further down the track?
Well, my view is that it's a relatively urgent item in terms of our consideration, and it should perhaps take place in the next couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
And council first before it goes out.
And goes to council first?
No, sorry. The council should consider in a workshop the draft strategic plan and try and get some consensus before it goes out.
That's fine.
To
That works for us.
Do you not want any feedback on it today?
Well, feedback today?
Yeah. You're not asking
No.
for any today?
No, not today. That will go to a workshop and then take it to a council committee and or council. But any emails, considerations, flashes of imagination in the middle of the night, can we flick those through to James for consideration in it?
I just want to make one comment. A strategic plan should take 5 or 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour to read, and this is about 3 times longer than it should be, in my view.
So we were asked to include the content of the strategic drivers paper that had previously been, and we put them together, and so there is a one-pager and then there's the longer version. Are you talking about something in between that's longer than 1 page, but not as long as that?
Let's not litigate this. Yeah. It will be much truncated by the time we've finished at our workshop.
There's just one hole here, and that's digital connectivity. And if we're going to get smart about land use,
sure,
and all the other things that can improve our environmental performance, then it comes through that connectivity, and that's missing in the whole plan. So that's what I'd be saying is.
Can you feed that through to James?
Done.
Thank you. All right, well, we've got agreement on that. Now,
just clarification, Mr. Chairman. So this is a workshop for council.
Yes,
councillors.
workshop for council.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item. The next item we've got the recommendations for the Finance and Audit and Risk Committee, which includes the capital structure review and operation efficiency review. Are they items that you wish to consider today, or would you be okay with perhaps transferring them to council? Directly to council?
That's 9, 10 and 11, is it?
Yes, indeed.
Are we still meeting at 9 a.m. on council day? Sorry,
10:15?
yeah. Well, I mean, if we're going to pile stuff onto the council agenda, are we going to have time? We're going to have face the same problem.
Councillors, we'd set aside an hour's councillor-only discussion time. Are you still interested?
I don't think we need that, Mr. Chairman.
Any other
We've been advertised
opinions?
now, so we've got a problem.
Say again?
Been advertised, so we've got a problem now.
Well, I'm happy to continue with it. I think we have got time, as long as we follow the discipline of what we discussed, which is a number of these items we've been through thoroughly today.
Yeah.
They should be just up for resolution. We don't need a complete rerun of, for example, Tourism Hawke's Bay. The report be received. Mover, seconder, bang, out the door, gone. Because we've had the discussion. Unless there is something really pressing and new and fresh and relevant that comes up. Otherwise, it's done.
Well, if anyone's interested to pursue the capital structure review issues, speak up now. We can hold that now. The operational efficiency, I think we can defer to next time round, unless you want it now. Speak up. All right, so we've deferred those 3 items. Do you want a motion to that effect?
Is that gone too?
It's gone to council, that's all right. Doesn't.
We do, I think, yeah. It would come out of council. Yeah, we'll do it then. The paper can have their names on then.
The only other question I would have, Chair, would be the council insurance program. Is that necessary for that to be approved in terms of we have to sign it off or something on by a certain date?
Well, the question is, those items go to council for accepting the recommendations of that subcommittee. So there could be consideration, there will be consideration at that time. And contravenes what Councillor Barker had to say. Sure.
But we don't have to have, what frustrating is we have a discussion at the committee, then we go to the council and we have another full-blown rerun of all the overheads, the presentation going again. Well,
No, we don't want to do that.
that's what we used to do. Let's not do that.
Sure, okay. Councillor Belton?
My question has to do with the efficiency review, and whenever we do take it up, unless I overlooked it, there doesn't appear to be any action step. We've been given a lot of observations and comments and some recommendations and so forth, with no prioritization, no indication as to well, now what? I mean, our acting chief executive, is he falling back into the role of cheerleading this to some conclusion, or is he now out of the picture, or so what's supposed to happen?
It'll be up to our chief executive when we announce them.
I had speculated that we would give a new direction out of that review document today, and that may include the acting chief executive being involved in one of the items of research. But really in your hands. We can either wait a week, we can do that now, or wait a week and do it
Well, let's
later.
wait a week and let our new chief executive have a
Formulate
look at it
that.
in the meantime.
Okay.
Chair, if I may, can I just perhaps clarify one of the matters we didn't discuss before is actually an official start date. It is my intention to take some annual leave before starting officially, so I have discussed with Greg him staying on for a few more weeks, looking after the place to enable me to have that holiday. So my official start date, I just do need to clarify overnight, but it probably won't be for a few weeks. So with respect to that item, what I would be grateful for your concurrence with, if it does work for you, is that I would reflect on the report and then come back to you when I'm substantively in the role with a series of recommendations about how to take the issues that are raised in the report forward in a more structured manner.
My suggestion is that whilst you're an employee, you confer with your employer about you taking your annual leave. At the point that you decide on that, you advise us, and you advise us of the date that you're going to become the chief executive. There will then be clarity.
In your hands, Councillor, you assume the chair, I think, Councillor. No, you,
So as chair of the regional council, so this is to you, Sophie, the press that is present. Look at that. I want to formally announce to the public that we have appointed James Palmer as our new CEO. We have concluded all the negotiations for his contract. Just got to dot the I's and cross the T's, but we have an agreement and we have shaken hands on that. So looking forward to James. This is one of his big supporters coming in now. Look at this. So James, really want to formally welcome you to the role, and we have very high expectations of you. And I know that you have high expectations of yourself. And I'm, as the chair, I'm really keen and enthusiastic to work alongside you, and because some of the challenges and hurdles that we have as a community are quite huge. We have very high expectations in our community of what the regional council should be doing about things. And they will have equally high expectations on the new CEO. So welcome aboard, and congratulations on your new job.
Chair,
James, do you want to...
with your indulgence, if I could just make a couple of very brief comments.
A long acceptance speech.
Look, I'll be very brief, and just to first of all thank the councillors for their expression of confidence in me in appointing me into the role. It is an absolute honour and a privilege, and I am under no illusions as to the scale of the challenges that lie ahead and the expectations both on me and on this organisation. So I'm acutely aware of those, and you can have every confidence that I will give it my absolute all. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. We'll rapidly... I'm just acutely aware of the time and the need for councillors to get away to other things. So we've decided that items 9, 10 and 11 are deferred to the council meeting. Any issues in those papers that you want to have explored further or expanded on in the subsequent council paper, please communicate that to staff. Do I need a resolution to defer those to council? Councillor Wilson, do you think?
Yeah, I'll move that item 8 lay on the table and 9, 10 and 11 go directly to council.
Seconded. All those in favour of that course of action?
Aye.
And in terms of the strategic plan, we've made it's on the table, but there'll be a subsequent workshop to be advised. We now move to agenda item 13. Do we want to consider that item now, or can we acceptance of the quarterly council communication update? Moved by Councillor Hewitt, seconded by Councillor Bailey. All those in favour? Oh, you've got a comment. Sorry, Councillor, away you go.
I'm trying to find it here. There's a comment. There's a reference in here to some sort of review being undertaken of this whole function. Can somebody guide me to it?
It's in camera.
Am I making that up?
0.5.
Point what?
5.
No, it's not in point 5.
You're talking about the
Communications
communications update.
update.
Sorry, Tom, you got the front page?
Yeah,
And externally led communications review is currently.
All right, I'm sorry. So it is item 4. Who set the terms of reference for that, and who's doing the work?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the terms of reference were set by the executive. The work's being carried out by Jeff Henley, who's a communications specialist based in Wellington. He's done some work for council in the past. He's about to commence the review. In fact, his first visit here is on Friday, but it is his intention to interview the governors as well, so and as well as key stakeholders as well as staff as part of his review. So once I've met with him on Friday and got a clearer indication of his timeline and program, I'll be letting you know some more information on that.
So we have a no, we've resolved the acceptance of the communications update. Can we move on to the? Yeah. Oh, you did too. Oh, okay, well, I'll put the resolution then. All those in favour of accepting? Okay. Done. Moving on to agenda item 14. Is there a scope to take that as read? Are there any issues that want to be raised? It's an important position of risk management for the organisation. Councillor Dick.
I'll second that.
Councillor Bailey. Who was in favour of?
Can I just make a very brief comment, Chair? Yeah, I'd just like to. I know we're proceeding at pace with a number of these items later in the agenda, but I just thought I'd like to take pause and remember exactly what this report is. It's our health and safety report, and just how important that particular issue is for the council. Specifically looking at item number 3, point number 3 in the paper.
Made, Councillor Wilson.
Just in regard to the commentary here around contractors, I just want to reinforce a point that we can't contract our way out of obligation, and I will be raising at the Transport Committee a question around how robust our contracts are with our bus provider in regard to potential accidents in that contract, and just exactly how they are conveying to us how they will manage their risk of operation. Thank you.
Any other comment on the health and safety report? All those in favour of receiving the report, say aye. Those against, carried. We move to, we're up to the balance of the items not on the agenda, is that right, Madam Secretary? And we've considered the minor items, but there were 3, I think, urgent items. The first was from Councillor Bailey in terms of the Napier drinking water supply.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just more than anything, just to...
Sorry, Mr Chairman, could we just, so we follow the process, can Councillor Bailey tell us the reason this item is not on the agenda and the reason the discussion cannot be delayed?
The item was not on the agenda, Councillor Dick, because it was an issue which raised in this morning's media, and it is an item that cannot be delayed, I don't believe, because it just reinforces to me the outcome from the Havelock North Water Inquiry.
Appreciate your question, Councillor, but I actually had accepted the item onto the agenda. We could have contested it at that point. But however,
the questions weren't asked, that's all.
Well, okay.
I mean, it's very easy to fire stuff in.
Well, it's up to the chair to decide whether to accept it.
Yeah, I know. However, this is one that can be voted on, isn't it? Leanne?
No.
No? Even as an urgent item of business?
But it's one that can be debated. Minor items are not to be debated.
Minor items are not to be debated or
Minor
decided
items.
on. But what about urgent items?
Can I have a deliberation from the Secretary?
So I've recorded it as a minor item not on the agenda because in order for it to qualify as a major item requiring urgency or whatever that other one is, it has to be supported by a paper by either the chairman or the staff.
Yeah.
So I've just recorded it under minor items not on the agenda.
Okay, so there's
assumed it was an
no
agenda.
discussion, there's no resolutions.
Can I just
Right.
say, can I just say that if that's what you've done, Leanne, then you should have given that advice at the time, because the chair has accepted it as an urgent item. And that's the chair's prerogative to accept it in whichever way he wishes to. So I just think we've got to get this thing sorted. So it's the chair's decision, and the chair's alone, in my view. That's it.
Councillors, having supported the urgency of it, I'd be very happy for Councillor Bailey to speak to it at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There was, of course, an article on the front page of the Hawke's Bay Today this morning about Napier water again having to be chlorinated because of an E. coli scare. There were two things that issues I wanted to raise. Firstly was we found out about it through the media and not been contacted directly, and certainly for us, I think for us Napier councillors, it's something that's very dear to close to home. And the other one is again, when we look back at what happened with the Havelock North situation, just were we advised by Napier City Council, and can we just check to make sure that those processes that should be in place are actually in place and being managed correctly?
Chair, would you like a response to that?
Councillor Barker first, and then we'll come back to you.
Could I just add to that? I think we should ask for a report to the next council meeting next week from the staff on what actions have been taken and what this council needs to do itself.
So my understanding, speaking to Mr Maxwell, who's had to go to the airport this afternoon and so couldn't speak to this himself, is that we learned about it through the media as well. We were not advised, and just to put that into context, we do have an agreement with Napier City that should they get an E. coli positive test that looks to have any relevance to the drinking water source, where our statutory responsibilities lie, i.e. the aquifer, that they will notify us immediately. The fact that they haven't notified us leads us to conclude that it's possible that the E. coli relates to some other part of their reticulation network. Now, we've made inquiries today, and we haven't had return phone calls last I heard. So we've called Napier. We've asked for some questions to be answered. We suspect the staff that are relevant are busy running around managing their situation. Would note that it is a reading of 1, so it's not a major E. coli presence, and it could easily be a sampling error or something of that nature. So we wouldn't leap to any conclusions about there being actual contamination of the supply, and certainly not of the source at this point.
Well,
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, James. If we just have an update then at the next council meeting, that would be marvellous.
It would be remiss of me not to comment on this issue in the next, James, and they are both closely linked in my mind. The second urgent item we wanted to consider was the discharge of wastewater and a report coming from the Napier City Council, I think yesterday or the day before. Two things about that. One, if there is an E. coli issue with the drinking water, we should be all over it, given that this is a sequence of E. coli contamination reports. I strongly urge whatever resources are required to be applied to it, so that we're getting regular updates as to progress on managing drinking water. Secondly, we've got a wastewater discharge problem, a report coming from Napier City Council which is woefully inadequate and needs to be responded to with urgency. The element that I'm urging staff to consider is to fully inform all councillors with major sentinel events like this. The report was sent to myself and the Napier councillors. It was a significant note for all councillors who've got the report, and some consideration of the actions being taken by staff around it. And I'm just really laying it out there that the compliance and consenting environment is high profile and needs urgent addressing by staff. And I don't want to have to come to another meeting singing the same song again.
Chair, did you want any comment in relation to the estuary issues
Love to
at
hear
all?
from you.
So I understand that Mrs Lambert's got, sorry, she has been reviewing the report.
Sure, thank you. And again, in Mr Maxwell's absence, I've been sent a copy of the report by one of our compliance staff. And essentially, I mean, you'll be aware of the broad context of the situation in which this occurred. It was heavy rainfall during Cyclone Debbie. Thanks, Deb. And there was the Napier area received 121 millimetres in the course of 2 days. And so effectively this was a situation that was a controlled discharge in terms of being able to avoid the popping up of manholes, 2 particular areas on Taradale Road and along Wycliffe Street, which would have occurred if the sewage had backed up any further. So it was a public health issue, and for that reason, there were in 2 separate locations, the valves were opened for a set period of time, and raw sewage was discharged into those areas. One other thing that would be noted, and the fact, again, the context being that there had been significant rainfall over a 2 to 3 day period, the E. coli readings upstream of the discharge points were actually higher than the E. coli readings downstream. And that's probably partly a consequence of just of the rainfall. So,
Thank you, Liz.
Can I just add one additional piece? Mr Maxwell advises that he has written today to the Napier City Council and to Landcorp, putting them both on notice that they have, in the Napier City's case, 1 month, and in Landcorp's case, 2 months to file resource consents for their discharges that are currently unconsented.
Thank you. Councillor Graham?
I would just have some concern, Chair, that the system comes under pressure at 120 mils of rain in 2 days. That is not unusual for Hawke's Bay. As a matter of fact, every second week in Wairoa they have that. But we can get 120 mils in 2 days 3 or 4 times a year. So it must be more than that. It must be something, it can't just be, because that's not an extreme rainfall event. Extreme rainfall event is 80 to 100 mils in 3 hours.
and I think partly the issue was around the capacity, because all our wastewater in Napier, or the urban area of Napier, goes via the pumping station at Latham Street near McLean Park. And I think the actual issue was the capacity there to deal with it all that was coming in to send it off to the to Awatoto. Napier City Council have acknowledged that there are, through their asset infrastructure strategy, that there are upgrades required. I mean, I think any territorial authority would always be on the lookout for parts of their system that need improving, and this is certainly one of those situations.
Councillor Belford?
Mr Chairman, the report, sorry. The report also indicated that they have significant infiltration issues from stormwater, which is a pretty common problem. I actually thought the report was reasonable, that the event was unfortunate, but we don't live in a perfect world, and nature sometimes overwhelms us, and I thought the mitigation measures that they were proposing looked acceptable. But in saying that, it's over to our enforcement team to do whatever they feel is appropriate, and I'm not going to try and influence them in any.
Well, thank you for that. I can't let Councillor Belford speak before I have this next little say on this matter.
I would refer.
Thank you, Councillor Belford.
I would refer to this as the Derek Williams Memorial issue. This is no new episode. This has been going on for as long as I've been sitting around Hawke's Bay following these issues. The infrastructure issue has always been the elephant in the room, whatever, the wizard behind the curtain, whatever you want to call it. It's Napier City Council has been in denial of this set of issues for a long, long time. And I suspect the only reason we haven't been inflamed about it before is they simply didn't report previously when they did exactly what they did the last time, which is just pump it into the estuary when it gets out of hand. So we're great at building skate parks on Marine Parade, but we can't build adequate pumping facilities to get, wastewater out of a submarine center. I mean, basically.
Thank you, Councillor, and I'll come back to you, Paul, but I do need to say this. I don't accept for one moment, I'm sorry, Councillor Dick, that we should leave this to the staff on this matter. We need to be all over it. I do not believe a word of their report. There is no independent examination or involvement in it. We should be all over it. And I'm appalled at their report. Going to Councillor Belford's statement, the infrastructure is clearly deficient. We are in danger of the same Havelock North situation when you get the excuses passed on to us in this way. It's their issue and ours. Ours because we need to monitor it, we need to know exactly what's going on, and we need to stop it. So that's my 10 cents worth.
If I could add to that, if I could add to that, the very first paragraph of the report says this is a 1 in 5 year event, a 1 in 5 year event. It's something that happens over and over again. Obviously, if it happens every 5 years, that is not an act of nature. That is something which should be manageable by the Napier City Council, and I'm disappointed in the report because of that.
Mr. Chairman, will I be allowed to respond? Just a couple of points. Well, actually, to seek guidance from you, really. To seek guidance, how's that? Two things. One of the things that you talked about was the around the infrastructure, and I know that in not so distant meetings we've talked about. You've talked about how you might work with Hastings District Council around the public water supplies and things like that. So, my first question is: should there be some kind of arrangement made for councillors from here to discuss with councillors from there? But my second point is actually if this becomes a compliance issue, then that is very operational, and it's probably advisable that politicians are not being seen to influence
Totally
it.
get that bit. It's the other bit that's...
So that first bit, could we have a discussion offline about something there, or is that the view of people? You've expressed a significant level of frustration with Napier City Council. The question then is, what do you want to do about it?
And with Regional Council.
Yep.
No reason why the Napier constituency members can't meet with the Mayor or whoever, Chief Executive, if that can be arranged.
That's a good idea.
We've got one final item of urgent business, and that's Councillor Belford and the Ombudsman.
This item is urgent because I just learned a day or so ago that the Ombudsman will be in these offices on June 1st and was offered June 1st and 2nd, and at present has a meeting scheduled with me about the Lagoima request denial that this council has made. As we all know, this is first cab off the rank of, I think, 2 other similar requests about our communications to our constituents and each other. So my suggestion is that rather than this simply being a meeting of me with the Ombudsman pressing my personal point of view about this, we actually have taken a council view on 3 requests that are very similar in nature, and I would propose that some delegation of us actually meet with this fellow when he's in town right now my meeting is scheduled at 10 on the 1st, which overlaps with the water symposium.
That's the first morning of the water symposium.
I mean, I would say at least myself and the chairman, or myself and the chairman and the vice chairman, or...
Can we get some advice from the CE?
right now it's scheduled
Diane
here.
spoke to him, the Ombudsman, yesterday, and thought that he was talking about 3 different issues. Your particular issue, and then asked if he could meet with Rex and myself and
She?
anybody else that was interested in the more recent Lagoima issue. And it was at that stage that Diane noted that Rex was co-chairing whatever it was that was going out, the water symposium,
co-chairing?
and then following, so that's before the meeting, and then after the 10 o'clock
Didn't
meeting
realise that.
was going to be the presentation by
That's good.
the regional council staff. So therefore, also that Rex and myself would probably be there. So on that basis, the Ombudsman said, "Oh well, I'll do it next time I'm in town." But he's still going to be around for 2 days, so we can go back to, if that's the.
But it seems to me that the council has taken a stand on a significant matter of principle, and it either applies to each of these requests or it doesn't apply at all. And so why I should engage in a discussion with the Ombudsman about the particulars of email number 6 versus email number 3 is ridiculous from my standpoint. But we've taken a stand on this matter. We should resolve it. We should take advantage of the opportunity to face it head on and deal with it however we're going to deal with it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I see no reason why Councillor Belford and the Chairman shouldn't meet with the Ombudsman. But to say the Council has taken a stand, well, it might have done by majority in terms of your issue, Councillor Belford, but it hasn't even considered the other Lagoima requests. I know that the acting chief executive has taken a position. It's actually not one that I support, but you cannot through that say that the council is bound in relation to the last 2.
I could break, if I'm co-chairing, I could break for an hour there from 10 to, if he could meet us in Hastings, it would be a lot better. And I didn't have to.
It's Havelock North, the venue, so if he can
No, but he's.
Oh, it's Havelock North.
Yeah.
No, but could he meet us in Havelock or Hastings? Yeah, I know, there's 2 days of that. I'm happy to break at that 10 o'clock and meet him.
Can we just establish that that's what we want to do and we can figure out
I
the
do want to
timing
do
of
that,
it?
yeah.
So you're quite.
I'd be happy to attend that as well. So you're obviously happy to meet,
Anytime on those 2 days.
but with other people to discuss the range of issues, not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
So
yours,
the
and
3
that's
of
fine.
us would probably be enough.
So if we could meet somewhere in Havelock, that would be the best thing to do if that's possible.
Well, if we can arrange that, that would be great. Anyone else wants to attend, obviously. they're
And
most
their
welcome.
note back to me was, did say
Yeah,
that
Neil,
would
you
be
would be.
ideal,
Great, okay.
so.
All right,
You would be
let's-
another one. Good
Yeah,
one.
I'm happy to. Send me the meeting time we're away.
So,
So that,
So
that's
who
What
is
about
in-
the
who-
deadline for the other emails? I mean, we all had a request from Leanne for another deadline too, didn't we?
No, that
Yeah.
was the one that I changed. I declined to provide that information, despite what Leanne.
Even if some of us may have already provided the information she requested. What happens to that information?
send it back.
so if we declined Hawke's Bay today, right? You as acting chief
I declined
executive
Hawke's Bay today and Fairfax.
and
there was-
Fairfax,
there
right?
was 2 of them.
Yeah, so there's 3 sitting there declined. So who's going to take over the scheduling issue of dealing with this? Me?
No. I'll speak with Diane tomorrow, and we can sort it out based on what you've just said.
All right.
Preferably.
So I'll
meeting-
just stay out of it until I get
Preferably
further.
meeting somewhere in Havelock North.
Right.
And
Follow
with,
the process
and with,
here.
and with,
All right, so that's all of the items on the agenda. We've made decisions about what to do with the ones we didn't really consider. Any councillors, you're interested to close this meeting, and I ask Mike to do so.
tuatai, mi kia pētei, ko pēte, kua whakatahari mātua, o tēnei, tēnei rōpū, whaitati kauerani, ke te tuhoho pētei mauna teista. Seek what is precious, and if you are to bow, then be to a lofty mountain. And no doubt you'll come across quite a few lofty mountains in this particular environment. I'm not sure you'll get that anyway.
It's enough with you.
With that, Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence today. Thank you for coming down and providing the wisdom around this table. We thank you also for the good health and for the taking the interest of our community as a priority of this committee. We ask that you look after those that have to travel far to get back home. We ask this in your name. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, kia te whai o tātou āriki, a hui whaiti, me te whiwhi ngā teitau, ka wairua tapu āriki, amen. Kia ora.